I equated poverty to failure. I just didn't want to be poor. And that's God's honest truth. Success is a wonderful thing, but it tends not to be the sort of experience that we learn from. We enjoy it, perhaps we even deserve it, but we don't acquire wisdom from it. And maybe that's why it cannot be passed on either. Me being successful does not mean my children will also be so. How much ever I teach them what all I did in my life, and even if they follow it to the letter. Success just happens, really. So talking about how to become successful is a waste of time. Instead, let me tell you very honestly, whatever happened to me happened because I'm really scared of failure. I don't want as much to succeed as much I don't want to fail. I come from a very normal lower middle class family. We were quite poor actually. Let me tell you, poverty is not an ennobling experience at all. Poverty entails fear and stress and sometimes depression. I had seen my parents go through it many times. It means 1,000 petty humiliations and hardships. At an early age after my parents died, I equated poverty to failure. I just didn't want to be poor. And that's God's honest truth. When I got a chance to act in films, it wasn't out of any creative desire that I signed my films. It was just purely out of the fear of failure and poverty that I signed most of my initial films. Most of them were discards of actors and the producers could not find anyone else to do them. I did them all just for making sure that I was working to avoid unemployment. The timing or something was right and that made them happen and I became a big star. Our success is not a direct result of actions. It just happens on its own and we take the credit for it, out of embarrassment sometimes. So I believe the true road to success is not just the desire for success, but a fear of failure. I tell everyone, if you don't enjoy and be scared of your failure hard enough, you will never succeed. I'm not going to stand here and tell you that failure is fun, but I will insist and hope that all of us should experience failure in some measure. The extent of what each one of us perceives failure may differ, as it should. But I believe one needs to pass through some stages of failure if they really want to succeed. First and foremost, it's not the absence of failure that makes you a success. It is your response to failure that actually helps to buffer the reverses that you experience. I, for one, have two responses to failure. First is pragmatism, a recognition and belief that if one approach does not work, then the other will or might, as you might do in business too. The second response is fatalism. I fool myself that it was bound to happen and I need to move on. Not get caught up in the oft-repeated question, God, why does it happen to me? It happened, move on, it's wrong. Failure also gives me an incentive to greater exertion, harder work, which invariably leads to later success in most cases. Failure is an amazing teacher. If you don't fail, you will never learn. And if you don't learn, you will never grow. There is a well-known story of a bank president who was asked the secret of his success, and he said, right decisions. How do you get to know how to make right decisions? Came the follow-up question. Experience was the answer. Well, how do you get experience? Asked his interrogator. Wrong decisions, he replied.